Is the enjoy you'll get the chance to go to Kangaroo Island? That's amazing.
I have been.
You
I have been to Kangaroo Island. It was wonderful. Yes, near Adelaide, a short flight. And then I remember we had a delightful John who was an air conditioner. Yeah, it was a tour in a Jeep around the entire island. And it was absolutely spectacular. One of the best vacation stops I've ever made.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I can second that. So it is a great place to go. Now, Bob, you mentioned in your preview that it's a busy news day today, and we'll start in the Koreas.
Yes, Vice President Mike Pence of the United States is in South Korea now, the first stop on a 10-day Asia and Australia trip. Pence was quickly confronted with the stakes facing the United States as North Korea made a show of military muscle. There was, of course, that massive display of pomp and power in Pyongyang over the weekend. It marked the birthday of the country's late founder while advancing the regime's nuclear and missile capabilities. And then while Pence was aboard Air Force Two flying over the Bering Sea, a North Korean missile exploded during a launch, a high-profile failure, coming as a powerful U.S. aircraft carrier battle group approaches the Korean peninsula. Arriving in Seoul, Pence addressed some of the 28,000 American troops in South Korea.
Provocation from the North is just the latest reminder of the risks each one of you face every day in the defense of the freedom of the people of South Korea and the defense of America.
And the Vice President said he had spoken to President Trump twice yesterday at the end of last week. Trump was asked if the use of that mother of all bombs in Afghanistan was meant to send a message to Kim Jong-un.
I don't know if this sends a message. It doesn't make any difference if it does or not. North Korea is a problem. The problem will be taken care of.
A White House foreign policy advisor told reporters aboard Air Force Two that the type of missile that North Korea tried to fire yesterday was medium range, and it exploded about 4 to 5 seconds after it was launched. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster on the American ABC.
This latest missile test just fits into a pattern of provocative and destabilizing and threatening behavior on the part of the North Korean regime. And I think there's an international consensus now, including the Chinese and the Chinese leadership, that this is a situation that just can't continue.
Retired Marine Corps Colonel Steve Gagnon tells the American ABC even a botched test helps advance North Korea's weapons program.
It hasn't been unusual lately for North Korean missile tests to fail. The problem is that as they fail, they learn more and they take the lessons that they learn from their failures and they plow it back into their program so that they eventually get it right. So although this was a failure, there's no need to gloat because it's just going to help them eventually perfect the kinds of missiles that could eventually threaten the continental United States.
And North Korea expert Gordon Chang believes the U.S. should delve into China's role in helping the Pyongyang regime with its weapons development.
It's not clear that the Chinese actually provided the plans for this missile, but nonetheless, Washington needs to start asking Beijing some important questions about how the North Koreans got the technology for this missile.
And beyond that, North Korea's missile program. One of the comes from the House Foreign Affairs Committee chairman. He is Republican Ed Royce. And this morning on CNN, he says the answer is financial.
Shut down any foreign banks doing any kind of business in hard currency with North Korea, because when we last did that, we shut off the money for their program and we shut it down tight as a drum.
And Tony Mike Pence's first trip to South Korea carries personal meaning. He told American soldiers there that his late father, Edward, served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War and was awarded the Bronze Star on April 15, 1953, which happens to be 64 years to the day before his son, as vice president, departed for South Korea.
How about that? Yeah, what about that? So he wasn't at Incheon then, because that was 1950, I believe.
Yes,
And
yes, that's right.
A very hard war, that one. Very hard war.
Very, very difficult. So many brilliant books written about it. But
Yeah.
Very, very, that bitter winter, yes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Now, Bob, who, just on a slightly kind of non-serious note about this, who do you think had the job of telling Kim Jong-un that the missile exploded?
May not be around anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Not good job security.
No, I can I tell you, I wouldn't want that job.
No, you wouldn't want that.
Now, speaking of summary executions, federal and state judges have acted against a plan in Arkansas, the home of William Jefferson Clinton,
Yes.
to execute 8 men. What is going on with that?
Well, on Friday, Tony, I told our listeners then about the race in the state of Arkansas to execute 8 of those on death row there by the end of this month. If it happens, it would be the most people put to death by a state in that time frame since the U.S. Supreme Court reauthorized the death penalty in 1976. Attorney Jeff Rosenwait represents 3 of those inmates.
The freaks of the assembly line, or as one of the newspapers here called it, a killing spree.
Now, the reason for the rush, Arkansas Republican Governor Asa Hutchinson says the state's supply of midazolam, one of 3 drugs used for executions, will reach its expiration date on April 30th. Manufacturers have been reluctant to resupply states with that after the drug was used in a botched execution in Oklahoma in 2014. Those executions in Arkansas were to have started tomorrow, but now some judges have dealt a serious blow to that plan. U.S. District Judge Christine Baker says the 8 men have the right to challenge a drug protocol that could expose them to, in her words, severe pain. The state is appealing her order, with Governor Hutchinson saying,
I don't want to go back to the victim's family and say, well, we're worried about how this looks or the speed of this, and so we're not going to be able to carry out the will of the jury and the courts in this sentencing.
Another federal judge and the state Supreme Court there had already granted stays to 2 of the 8 inmates, reducing the number of planned executions to 6 within an 11-day period. Legal analyst Andrew Cohen on CBS.
The whole plan Arkansas had has completely come undone, at least for now. Both a state judge and now a federal judge have blocked next week's executions from taking place for different reasons. And several of the condemned men separately have had their own executions blocked as well, also for different reasons.
Robert Dunham runs the Death Penalty Information Center in Washington.
It tells us something about change in the attitudes of the American pharmaceutical companies. They've long opposed the use of their drugs in executions, but this is the first time that they have aggressively gone into court to try to stop an execution.
Also weighing in on the execution controversy in Iowa, none other than Johnny Depp.
It's the wrong thing to do, and the right thing to do. The right thing must be done.
The actor is joining protesters on the steps of the Arkansas State Capitol to protest the execution of all 8 of those condemned men in Arkansas. The daughter of a woman murdered by one of the condemned men is telling the state, just get on with it.
We've suffered long enough.
Arkansas has not executed an inmate in more than 11 years because of those drug shortages as well as legal challenges. And Tony, at this point, the legal wrangling leaves in serious doubt just when that state might actually execute its next inmate.
Yes, something tells me it'll be well after the expiration date on that particular drug.
It could well be. So there could be a considerable delay.
Any idea? We know that one of them is a murderer. Are they all, the 8 have all been found guilty of murder, or what range of crimes?
I don't think they're all murder. I think one is not. I'd have to go back through the list. I looked at it the other day, and I just don't recall enough to give you an accurate answer.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that one pans out. Donald Trump has said, promised during the campaign that he would release his tax returns. That's a promise he hasn't delivered on, and people have protested that fact in the States today, Bob.
Well, yesterday was actually April 15th in our country, the symbolic tax day here, when our federal and state income taxes are due. Now, symbolic because this year the actual date is April 18th because of the Good Friday and Easter holidays. Anti-Trump protesters are using this tax filing period to demand the president release his tax returns so the public can examine his business ties and determine if he does have links to foreign powers. Thousands of sign-waving, chanting demonstrators marched in a dozen cities yesterday, large and small, across America. For the most part, the protests were peaceful, but not in Berkeley, California. Berkeley police arresting about 20 people after fistfights erupted between those for and against Trump, who gathered in and around the park, about 200 people there altogether. Those explosions, you heard, were the result of fireworks being thrown. Officers confiscated knives, makeshift weapons. It was a much more peaceful peaceful scene in Manhattan. A rally in front of the U.S. Capitol in Washington featured a Trump impersonator who looked and sounded like the real deal.
We have so many incredible people here. So many wonderful people, such a large crowd, and there are more people who couldn't even come. And it's so great, so great.
At his first debate with Hillary Clinton, the real Donald Trump promised he would, as you said a few moments ago, Tony, release his returns.
I'm under a routine audit, and it'll be released, and as soon as the audit's finished, it'll be released.
And after he got to the White House, his senior counselor, Kellyanne Conway, announced a change.
He's not going to release his tax returns. We litigated this all through the election. People didn't care. They voted for him.
And plenty of Trump supporters observing the tax protest yesterday are standing by their man.
I think he's doing pretty good. I think you have to give him a chance. I mean, he's a rookie. And he has to get used to the politics of the game. Once he gets used to it, I think he'll be all right.
Some demonstrators showed up right outside Trump's Palm Beach, Florida estate, where he is spending the Easter weekend.
75% Americans say release your taxes, and that's what we want Donald Trump to do.
He's scamming the United States. He's costing millions of dollars by coming to Mar-a-Lago every weekend to play golf.
A few of those protesters there near the gates of Mar-a-Lago were hoisting signs saying, "Show us your rubles." And Tony, it may be Easter, but Trump is clearly aware of the protesters, and this morning he tweeted the following: "I did what an almost impossible thing to do for a Republican, easily won the Electoral College. Now tax returns are brought up again. Someone should look into who paid for the small organized rallies yesterday. The election is over." End quote.
Well, I've got to say, out of all that, I'm very impressed with that Trump impersonator.
I mean, that wasn't bad.
Hey, that's some good work there.
He had the blonde wig and the whole thing going.
Okay, well, look, he's in for a busy 4 years, I can tell you.
Yes, indeed.
I want to be that guy's agent. That's all I can say.
So are the editorial cartoonists in papers across the country. Whether for or against the president, they're having a field day.
Now, the CIA director, speaking of the election, of course, one of the big takeaways from that, or one of the big features of it, was the allegations of the third-party involvement, that being Russia. The CIA director has weighed into that. This is, an important contribution to the debate, I would have thought.
Yes, President Trump's top man at the CIA is Mike Pompeo. He's delivered his first speech since becoming America's spy master, and the subject was WikiLeaks, something you and I talked so much about during the campaign. Pompeo accused WikiLeaks of making common cause with dictators while tearing down Western values.
It's time to call out WikiLeaks for what it really is: a non-state hostile intelligence service often abetted by state actors like Russia. In January of this year, our intelligence committee determined that Russian military intelligence, the GRU, had used WikiLeaks to release data of U.S. victims that the GRU had obtained through cyber operations against the Democratic National Committee. And the report also found that Russia's primary propaganda outlet, RT, has actively collaborated with WikiLeaks.
Pompeo, the CIA director, certainly sounded a bit different than his boss, now the president, did when he was still a candidate, and WikiLeaks was dishing the dirt about Hillary Clinton.
All you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks.
This just came out. WikiLeaks. I love WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks. They've got to start talking about WikiLeaks, the wonder of WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange continues to insist his outfit is not pro-Russia.
On Russia and China, you publish hundreds of thousands of things. Most of them are critical.
But Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, argues it's the U.S. disclosures, like last month's release of some 8,000 sensitive documents from his spy agency, that are the real problem. They revealed secrets about the CIA's cyber espionage tools for breaking into targeted computers, cell phones, and even smart TVs. That, in Pompeo's view, makes the world less safe.
We can no longer allow Assange and his colleagues the latitude to use free speech values against us. To give them the space to crush us with misappropriated secrets is a perversion of what our great Constitution stands for.
The CIA director also criticized Edward Snowden, a former National Security Agency contractor. Snowden leaked documents revealing widespread government surveillance programs he continues to live in Russia. And Tony, a reminder to our listeners that Julian Assange, an Australian, has lived the last 4 years in Ecuador's embassy in London. He received political asylum there after skipping bail to avoid extradition to Sweden, where he is wanted over a rape allegation.
Yes, it's hard to believe that's been 4 years, but
Yes.
look, he could end up serving out his dotage there at the rate it's going. I don't know how that one's ever going to be resolved.
Yeah, good question, because if he steps out the door, the Brits, of course, pick him up and hand him over to the Americans.
Yeah, and then where do the Swedes come in? Because they have dibs on him too.
Yes, that's right. That's a good question.
It's quite the tussle, that one. This is the story that goes back a while. An American space probe, the Saturn, has sent some big news. Of course, it could have just picked up the phone and ring.
They could have phoned home. Just like E.T., right?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yeah. I think maybe we better have some out-of-the-world music for this story. That's it, a perfect backdrop to tell you Earthlings have suddenly and surprisingly just come one giant step closer to finding life elsewhere in our solar system. That is thanks to an American spacecraft called Cassini, which was launched 20 years ago.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff of the Cassini spacecraft on a billion-mile trek to Saturn.
With Cassini on its way to Saturn in 1997, scientists could hardly imagine what they would be able to report now. But now, NASA says, in studying the Saturn's icy moons, I think there's 11 moons, I can't remember the exact number, one is named Enceladus, and they found the ingredients on Enceladus for life. Cassini has captured images of a saltwater ocean encased in a frozen crust. But there's more. NASA engineer Morgan Cable says there are all the right combinations on that distant world to give rise to microbial life.
Life needs three things, right? It needs water, it needs chemistry, and it needs energy. And right now, some of these lines of evidence are telling us that Enceladus has these three things.
Researchers are reporting in the journal Science that jets of ice and gas coming from the moon's south pole contain molecular hydrogen.
This is the smallest molecule that exists in the universe. It's two hydrogens bonded together. This molecule can tell us about things like hydrothermal activity going on in the ocean of Enceladus. And this is very important as we start to answer that ultimate question of, is there really life on Enceladus?
And that particular moon orbiting Saturn may not be alone in its life-enabling signature. NASA now reports images from the Hubble Space Telescope suggest that plumes much like those on Enceladus also are spewing from Jupiter's moon Europa. And Tony, in the coming decade, the space agency will send a probe called Europa Clipper to seek signs of life on Jupiter's moon by flying through those plumes. So stay tuned.
Pan Am now make space exploration, right?
Yeah, instead of the Pan Am Clipper, we have the Europa Clipper, correct.
Yeah, well, allow me to be the first to say it's life, Bob, but not as we know it.
Not as we know it, exactly right. I wonder if they have politics like we do.
You'd certainly hope not. Why should any other planet be blighted? Now, speaking of exploring, Bob, you highlighted your trip to the Netherlands and Belgium.
Oh, I just loved it. I thought Amsterdam was an absolutely wonderful city. I've never spent any time there, and it's an absolutely amazing place. I mean, from the drugs to the bicycles to the red light district.
Yeah,
it's a city of contrasts.
Yes, it's an absolutely amazing place. In Belgium, did you go to Belgium?
Yeah, I like Belgium. Particularly, there's a little town there called Bruges. Yeah, it's just a fairy tale. Everywhere you take a picture, it's like postcards. It is just absolutely remarkable. Bruges is the town in Belgium. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Magnificent. All right, well, great to have you back safe and sound, Bob. And I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow.
Be with you then. Take care. Have a good day, everybody. Happy Easter Monday.
That is Bob Tulloh, live from the United States. He will be talking to me again in 24 hours' time. The phone number here, 1332. It's 29 minutes to 4.
John Paul Young presents the Vander and Young Songbook. a tribute to two of the most extraordinary songwriters of our time, featuring their biggest hits for the Easy Beats, AC/DC, Stevie Wright, JPY's own chart toppers, and so many more. Live in concert with the All-Star Band. Friday, April 28, Cardinia Cultural Centre, and Saturday, April 29, Palms at Crown. These are the songs that gave Australia its unique sound through the 60s, 70s, and 80s. John Paul Young's The Vanguard Young Songbook.
Raven Rainbow.
No.
Licorice Night.
No.
Zoom Zoom Black.
No, Aaron. Fancy car tint names are a way for car tinters to mark up their prices. We don't do that at Happy Tint. We give our customers the best tint on the market for one price, just $2.65. Plus, free pickup, delivery, a free courtesy car, and a lifetime warranty.
Happy Tint your home, your office, your car. Call 1-800-HAPPY-TINT. Visit happytint.com.au.
That business, you know, you've heard about it, read about it, because they have that something special. Like Cargo Crew, who make work uniforms that actually look good. Jeans, and use Skype for Business Online to supply workwear worldwide. But you know what? This business started like yours. Be That Business with Skype for Business Online from Telstra. Search Be That Business to find out more.
It's time for the Berkowitz Furniture Autumn Sale, and that means it's time to save on the entire Berkowitz furniture range. Quality leather and fabric lounges, solid timber dining settings, recliners, occasional furniture, and more. It's all attracting special autumn sale pricing, and because it's from Berkowitz, you know it offers not only timeless quality, but also timeless value. It's time for Timeless during our autumn sale event at Berkowitz Furniture on Now.
Oh, the Blind Factory! Don't miss the Blind Factory Autumn Sale, because it's autumn, and it's a sale. The Blind Factory, call 13Blinds now and save in the sale, because it's autumn. I'm sure I must have mentioned that.
When you realise the shops are shut over Easter, hop into Coles Express. We're open every day for all your essentials, like 3 bags of ice for just $10 every day, or a swap and go gas bowl for $25 every day. Hop in for Easter essentials. Hop out happy at Coles Express.
On a stormy overnight.
26 minutes to 4. Here is the serial. It's House of Gold, and it's now up to episode 21.
He sacrificed his love. She murdered for the House of Gold.
Dawn was scarcely breaking when I rose, dressed, and went out to the kitchen at Dan delivered.
Oh, there you are, Nicholas. Everything's ready for you.
Chloe, what are you doing up at this hour?
Getting your breakfast, of course. You can't go out to muster those cattle without some good, solid food inside you. Now sit down. Everything's cooked and served out.
You must have been up all night.
Not at all. Here you are.
That looks good.
Start eating then. Oh, the tea's just made. I made it when I heard you getting up. I'll pour it for you. And I think I'll have a cup myself.
Now, just why did you get up and do all this when we have plenty of servants?
And just how much can you depend on these native girls?
None of the natives are very dependable, I suppose.
Well, here's your tea. And I've packed some sandwiches for you to take with you.
Oh, thanks, Clemmy, but I don't expect to be gone all day.
Well, have you plenty of boys to help with my stuff?
Oh, we've enough. Good. Tom took some up there yesterday and brought most of the cattle down to the valley.
So you'll only have to bring them into the yards?
Shouldn't take us very long.
Phew, I think it's going to be a hot day.
Hot, dry, and dusty. It's days like this when I think most about Golden Acres.
Best thing you can do is forget about Golden Acres.
I wish you could see it, Clemmy. The fields are so green. And there are big oaks all around it. It looks so cool and calm.
You can't tell me much about the English countryside, Nicholas. I saw plenty of it in my youth.
Don't you ever want to go back there, Clemmy? Away from all this hate and wilderness?
No, and I don't think you really want to either, Nicholas. You were born here. This is your home.
Golden Acres is my home. Or should be.
And you know, Clemmy, I think it will be one day.
Well, I wouldn't build my hopes on it if I were you.
Well, Rufus can't live forever, and then it'll be fatherless.
Your father doesn't want it. Haven't you realised that yet?
But you're wrong, Clemmy. I've been working on father ever since I came back from England, and I really think he's beginning to give in.
I doubt that.
Well, he's practically admitted that he'd like to go back and see the place again, and see Caroline.
Yes, I can believe that he might wish to see Caroline. He loved her very much. Don't think he's ever forgotten her.
Even when he was married to my mother?
Well, he loved your mother, but I think it was in a different way. After all, Caroline was his first love, and people don't forget their first love so easily. But never doubt it, Nicholas. He was the best husband a woman ever had. Your mother couldn't have asked for a better.
I can believe that.
But don't forget that he did renounce all his rights to golden acres when he left England years ago.
But he could reverse that. He could claim his rights again. But when Rufus dies, the property has to come to him. Rufus only has a daughter. Surely father's claim would take precedence over hers. Isn't that the way it always is?
I haven't any idea. I know nothing about such things. I only know you don't waste too much time over your breakfast.
No, I suppose not. The men will be waiting. Are you going to bring Helen up to see us drive?
That's what's your plan for today.
Look, if you go up to the hill on the right side of the valley, near the big tree, the one that was struck by lightning last year, you'll get a good view from there.
And a bit of shade from the trees, as long as we don't have another storm.
I doubt it. Do you think Helen's settling down for me?
I don't know, Nicholas. She certainly hasn't seemed very happy these last couple of weeks.
Probably because Richard Destry hasn't been round. What do you think happened to him, Clemmy?
I wouldn't know. Now, if you're finished, I'll get your sandwiches for you and you can be off. Oh, and when you go out to the yard, you better make sure that old Pie-Eye is there. I don't fancy riding out on any of the younger and friskier horses.
I'll make sure he's ready here when you want to go. Now get me the sandwiches, Clemmy. I must be off.
And what's so amusing, Helen?
Oh, it's that horse you're riding, Clemency.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with Pie-Eye.
He's even got a silly name.
He's not a silly horse. He's got plenty of sense.
I should imagine he should have. He's old enough.
Well, I feel safer on him than I do on some of these frisky young things. Though I recall the day when, like you, I'd laugh at poor old Pie-Eye. But I was young and foolish then, and thought it wonderful to go tearing across the countryside on a horse that wasn't properly broken in.
Have we much further to go?
Well, see that tree up there? That's where we're making for.
Oh, I hope it's a little cooler up there. It's so hot, and all these flies, where do they come from?
Oh, they're just part of the country.
Not a very pleasant part. Then there's not much about this country that is pleasant, is there?
You still don't want to stay here, is that right, Helen?
Oh, frankly, Clemency, I don't know what I do want. Except right now I'd like a good hard gutter. To keep the flies away and maybe cool me down a bit.
Well, off you go then. Now, make that big tree up there, see? There's a well-defined patch to it. By the time I join you, we should begin to see the cattle coming into the valley.
I see you on the hilltop then, Clemency.
Good.
If all my I can make it.
You'll make it all right, you'll see. There they are, Helen. See, you can see the cattle coming into the valley now. See up there?
Why do they have them after Clemency?
Well, cattle stray. Every now and then they round them up, make a count of the heads, and brand any new calves they find. Oh. If you want to know more about it, you could ask Nicholas. He'll be glad to tell you.
Oh, I'm not interested, really. I don't much like the cattle. They frighten me. Didn't really want to come out here today, only Nicholas was rather insistent. There wasn't anything else to do.
You're not very happy, are you, child?
No.
Is the fact that you haven't seen Richard Destry for a while got anything to do with it?
Where is he? Why hasn't he been to see me?
I don't know, Helen.
Did Uncle Daniel tell him to give away from me?
If he did, I'm sure he only had your best interests at heart.
But he's got no right to do that, no right at all.
You are his ward, Helen. He is responsible for you.
I'm old enough to decide who I want to see and who I don't want to see.
And you want to see Richard Destry?
Yes, I do. I think it's most unfair of you and Uncle Daniel to condemn him just because of some old gossip which you heard about years ago and which isn't true anyway.
He warned you that we might be against him because of that, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And you believed him?
Of course. Well, why not? Richard's an honourable man. He wouldn't lie to me. I'd just like to know what's happened. Why he hasn't come to see me.
Maybe he's gone looking for gold.
Oh, for pity's sake, is that all people can think about in this country? Going off to strange places looking for gold?
I suppose every man dreams of discovering gold and making his fortune.
I hate the very sound of it. If he hadn't been so crazy to find gold, my father might have been alive today.
Oh, look! Here come the cattle.
Mercy! Do all those beasts belong to Uncle Dan?
Yes, all of them. Some of the best beef in the country is down there.
Where are they all going?
Well, I'll take them out of the valley to the paddocks. You've seen the paddocks. You've ridden that way.
I've never seen as many beasts as that. Does Uncle Daniel really own all this property?
Almost as far as the eye can see belongs to Daniel.
So vast. It's almost unbelievable. After England, it just doesn't seem real.
Oh, look, there's Nicholas. He's got a fine seat on a horse, Nicholas. Look at him ride.
He does ride well. Some of the natives can ride too, can't they?
Oh, some of our boys have taken to riding like ducks to water. Well, Helen, aren't you impressed?
I suppose I should be, but it's all a bit overwhelming.
Yes, I suppose all this is strange to you after the sheltered life you've led in England. Stay, Helen, stay for a while. You know, there's a fascination about this country once you feel it. You never want to leave.
I don't think I'll ever find it fascinating.
What is it, Nicholas? Is something wrong?
There's nothing there. Just dropped out. Tom will take him in the restroom where he dropped it, well.
But Nicholas, your hand's bleeding.
That's why I dropped out. It's nothing much, just a cut. But I thought I'd get home and clean it up.
Yes, you do that now.
What do you think about cattle, Helen?
He seems an old fellow.
Rather quite a few. That's a fine muster.
Look, get along home, Nicholas, and look after that cut. Helen and I will follow you.
Right.
Nick seems very pleased with himself.
Oh, he's always been so happy here. But I'm afraid since his visit to England, he's restless.
It's that house, isn't it? That golden acres. He wants to go back to England and claim it.
He's spoken to you about it.
He talks of nothing else but the day when he's going to live there, when his children are going to play on the lawns. He dreams about it.
His dreams are in vain, I fear. Nicholas will never own golden acres.
Oh, it's not impossible, is it? After all, he's Daniel Gold's son, and Uncle Daniel is the heir.
Oh, yes, he's Daniel's son. Now, let's gather the things up and go home.
Of course, Nicholas is my son.
I want the truth, Daniel.
Listen to me, Destry. I don't know what put this idea into your head.
It's obvious I should be suspicious, isn't it?
No, I think it's obvious at all.
I have come back here to find out the truth.
I am telling you the truth. Confounded man, you've only to look at him, the likeness between us.
It's not so much. I can trace a similarity to the Destry family.
Nonsense.
Besides, it's a well-known fact that foster children frequently grow up to look like the parents who care.
That's not so in this case. Now listen, Destry. Nicholas is my natural-born son. Check the date of his birth.
That would be altered.
Is this why you came back to this country? You accuse me of lying and cheating about the birth of my son?
I had other reasons. I contemplated coming back, and then I heard that you and Rosalie had a son. I wanted to know the truth. I still want to know. I demand to know the truth about Nicholas. I want to...
And Nicholas? Where the devil did you come from? I silently cursed the fates that had brought Richard Destry to my home today. How much had Nicholas heard? How could I avoid the questions he was sure to ask?
Money news with Ross Greenwood. The census was collected, and what it shows is what the Australian Bureau of Statistics calls the
typical Australian. Weeknights from 7. No longer the so-called bronze Aussie. What you've got is a 38-year-old female born in Australia of English ancestry, married, lives in a family with 2 children, has completed at least year 12, lives in a house with 3 bedrooms, and has 2 motor vehicles. There you go. Money News on 3AW 693.
Hi, it's Kaylee here. Exclusively discounted electricity and gas offers are right now coming to a close in Victoria. Don't hesitate any longer. These offers are only available to 50 Up Club members and might not come again. Go to 50upclub.com.au to check out our latest group discounted electricity and gas offers, unlocked especially for Victorian over 50s. Switching your electricity and gas is quick and easy. Remember, if you've never switched before, it's likely you're paying too much. The offer from Click Energy has no exit fees, no lock-in periods, and no expiry dates on discounts. Go to 50upclub.com.au and join now. But hurry, these offers are for a limited time. Joining the 50 Up Club is cost and obligation free. Go to 50upclub.com.au.
Off to court for unpaid CityLink fines? These traffic law experts can speak for you, reduce your fine significantly, and get you on a payment plan. William Archer Defence Lawyers, the only dedicated traffic law firm in Victoria. WilliamArcher.com.au.
It feels like home when I'm with you. The sun is up, the sky is blue. Only the best to you. From Rosella, only the best to you.
Everything tastes better with Rosella. Australian made and Australian owned. Only the best to you from Rosella.
Only the best to you. From Rosella, la la la.
Hello. National Tiles has the largest trade base of professional tilers in Australia. Why? Because thousands of professional tilers across Australia know that National Tiles has without doubt the best value for money tiles, adhesives, grouts and accessories in the nation. Whether you're a builder, tiler, architect, interior designer or do-it-yourselfer, come into National Tiles now and see why National Tiles has the largest trade base of professional tilers in Australia. Tony Mowgli on Australia overnight.
It's 11 minutes to 4. The quiz is up next, 1332. If you'd like to play, there is a prize involved. Before we get to the quiz, however, Chris has called from Broadmeadows. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, Tony. Welcome back. I don't know if you've been lost. I've just sort of been lost by talkback radio in recent weeks because the chopping and changing and the Easter period. I wasn't sure whether DT was on all last week or not. But it had something a lot of quick to control weather. But in 1990, I wrote a letter to Premier John Cain, which he invited me to join the ranking file of the ALP, which I did in September of 1990, whether we could redevelop the Princess Park stadium into a major stadium as a third, I think it was only the second possible stadium at the time before Etihad Stadium, or the Wembley Stadium, and reopen either part or whole of the old City Link train line, which used to run from Royal Park through North Carlton, through Russell around to the city, or run light rails off Royal Parade and shunt them at North Carlton Railway Station and use Princess Park, get Princess Park up to a major capacity station like 65 to 95,000 capacity. Because in the next 7 or 8 years, we will need a third stadium, a bit like what Perth are doing now. They're building a major stadium in the whole, what is it, 80 or 90,000 now?
I didn't know that, but there you go.
But as you know, in 2024 with the Commonwealth Games, or 2022 for the Commonwealth Games, or 2024 for the Olympic Games, Melbourne might be hosting those Olympics or Commonwealth Games because the host city hasn't got the funds and will not be.
What host city is that, Chris?
Sorry?
What host city is that?
I just don't know, but apparently one of the host cities of the Commonwealth or the Olympic Games at that period will not have the funding or the capacity to hold the games, and they could be coming back either to London or back to Melbourne.
Okay. Well, you wonder how we'd go hosting Olympics with traffic and that sort of thing. I wasn't in Melbourne for the Commonwealth Games. How did that go?
I sort of stood clear of that environment around the city in that for that period of time. I'm not really into Commonwealth or Olympic Games, even though I was a triathlete, 100 metre sprinter, and today is the Stall GF2, which I did qualify for. But
yeah,
I wasn't really into athletics. I was into Aussie rules, football, cricket, golf, 8-ball, and
okay, so, well, look, yeah, who knows? You may be representing Australia in pool or snooker or whatever it might be, 2024 Olympics, which apparently is between Boston, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Thank you for the call, Chris. 13-13-32. It's 8 minutes to 4. If you'd like to play the quiz, there is a Mark Vincent CD back, including a brand new album tribute to the great Mario Lanza. Which is that now? Can you name the Kate Winslet film where she always talks about Mario Lanza? That's not one of the quiz questions, by the way. I hereby declare it quiz time. Good morning, Paul. Are you ready to rock?
rock or roll or fail.
All right, well, we'll see. Now, apologies, I'm a bit rusty on the quiz, so I may have already asked this question, so if I have, it's a free kick. What category of Oscar did Melissa Tomei win for the 1993 film My Cousin Vinny?
Who cares?
Oh, now, come on, Paul.
I've got no idea.
All right, I'll ask the question again. Thank you, Paul. 13-13-32 is the number to call. What category of Oscar did Melissa Tomei win for the 1993 film My Cousin Vinny? Hint, it wasn't Best Catering. It's 7 minutes to 4, 13-13-32.
Hi, I'm Liam from Fowles. Our carpet and timber flooring warehouse in Clayton has bargains you won't believe until you see them for yourself. 5,000 rolls of beautiful first-grade carpet in all the major brands, hundreds of the very latest styles in timber flooring, plus professional installation with an unconditional satisfaction guarantee. Don't commit anywhere else until you've been to Fowles and discovered a better way to buy your floors. Come on down 7 days a week on the corner of Princess Highway and Blackburn Road, Clayton, or check out fowles.com.au.
Every day, more young people are becoming homeless. Kids Undercover are dedicated to preventing homelessness by providing disadvantaged young people with physical space to thrive. And you can make a real difference simply by donating your car. We'll take any car away for free and auction it. You'll get a tax-deductible receipt, and Kids Undercover receive 100% of the sale proceeds. Learn more now at donateyourcar.org.au. Donateyourcar.org.au.
Hi, it's Kaylee here. When's the last time you gave your life insurance deal a checkup? If you've never switched life insurers, there's a good chance you're paying too much. The 50 Up Club is now offering its members its own range of life insurance covers. Join now at 50upclub.com.au to get a 20% saving for the life of the policy. That's right, a 20% saving for the life of the policy. Get a quick quote at 50upclub.com.au. 50 Up Life Insurance cover is issued by Australian-owned, award-winning Noble Oak Life Limited and subject to underwriting processes. Any general advice provided by Noble Oak does not take into account your individual objectives, financial situation or needs. To ensure this cover is right for you, please read the PDS at 50upclub.com.au.
Throw away your glasses. Throw away your contact lenses. Take a look at life through your new Dream Lenses, the easy, comfortable way to experience sharper vision. Dream Lenses use a revolutionary, non-surgical, no-risk process at just a third of the cost of laser eye surgery. Safe for children over 7 and adults of all ages, with short or long-sightedness, astigmatism, or reading difficulties. Learn how Dream Lenses work by visiting newdreamlenses.com.
Tyre Pals massive Easter sale gives you the power of our giant giveaway on Toyo tyres. Simply buy 3 and get 1 free. A great range of Toyo passenger car and SUV tyres. Conditions apply. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 132191 for your local owner operator.
Tony Motor, honest hero overnight.
4 minutes to 4, the phone number 13-13-32. If you want to play the quiz, and there is a question just hanging there. Somebody needs to knock it down like a piñata. Hi, Sam. Hi, Paul. Sam, in what category of Oscar did Melissa Tomei win in 1993 for the film My Cousin Vinny.
Was it Best Supporting Actor?
Is that your answer, Sam? It is correct. Best Supporting Actor. All right. What annual event in Melbourne is known as the Myth?
The Melbourne International Film Festival.
Geez, you're good. And you know you're good. Let's see how you go from sport, from films to sport. Who was the first Australian to win 3 gold medals at an Olympic Games?
Dawn Fraser.
Is that your answer?
Yes.
Sam, you don't even qualify in the heat. That is incorrect. But thank you. You've done well. Hi, Vanessa.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. Can you answer this question?
Don't know.
Just have a crack. It was in the 1950s. Who was the first Australian to win 3 gold medals at an Olympic Games?
I was thinking about Dawn Fraser, but it's been taken as no good.
Yeah, can you think of anywhere else? Pretty impressive record.
Yeah. I was thinking someone I've kept saying, so I'll pick it off them, but yeah, that's one of the ones.
Well, we'll see if you're right there. Thank you, Vanessa. Hi, Frank. G'day, Tony. How are you? Yeah, well, thanks, Frank. Murray Rose. Oh. You see, that is an excellent answer, but this person beat Murray Rose to that honour. Not by much, I must say, but this person won 3 gold medals at an Olympic Games, is Australian, and did it before Murray Rose in 1956. Thank you, Frank. Hello, Bernie.
Dr. Dean.
Sorry, is it Dean, is it?
Yes,
Apologies, Dean. Oh, geez, you're good. Yes, it is. Now, what musical duo originally went by the name Tom and Jerry?
Jan and Dean?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, fine.
All right. Well, I'm going to put this out there. They're a musical duo. You have heard of them. Their songs are very well known. Looks like we'll have to end the quiz on this. It's a cliffhanger for tomorrow night. Carryover prize as well. That being a Mark Vincent CD pack, including a brand new album, a tribute to Mario Lanza, out now. I'll take any callers who want to let me know what Kate Winslet film references Mario Lanza after the 4 o'clock news. 32. Quiz is back tomorrow.
Coming up after the news, more of a story overnight. Call now, 13 13 32. Selling your home? Get the must-read free booklet, Fatal Real Estate Traps Exposed, at vendoradvocacy.com.au. News. 13 degrees in Melbourne, partly cloudy today, as low as 22. It's 4 o'clock. Good morning, I'm Matthew Tube. The hunt continues for a convicted sex attacker who yesterday escaped a minimum security prison in the state's west. 51-year-old Barry Desmond was last seen walking along the Western Highway at Koala just after 10 in the morning, leaving Langkalkal prison. He is serving time for offences including indecent acts in the presence of a child and willful and obscene exposure. Police say Desmond has connections to Bendigo and Werribee and warn the public not to approach him but to call 000. He was last seen wearing green track pants and a flannelette shirt and is about 178 centimetres tall with a thin build, cropped grey hair and blue eyes. The race is tightening. Turkey's bitterly fought referendum on increasing the president's power as more votes are counted. The BBC's Mark Lowen is in Ankara. The poll said it would be close, and it is. Very close. After initial results gave a huge lead to the yes side, the gap has narrowed rapidly as opposition strongholds were counted. The 3 biggest cities of Istanbul, Ankara and Izmir voted no. If President Erdogan does finally win, Turkey will undergo the biggest political change in its modern history. The post of Prime Minister scrapped, the President given vastly enhanced powers. He'd be able to choose ministers and most senior judges, dissolve Parliament to prepare the budget, and could stay in office until at least 2029. After a divisive campaign,
paying both-side Prussians over on fine. Meantime, Turkey's main opposition party reportedly says it will call for a recount of 60% of votes. The US Vice President Mike Pence has spoken at a military base in South Korea. He arrived in the country just hours after the North tried and failed to launch ballistic missiles. He told American servicemen in South Korea that the country's resolve to stand by Seoul has never been stronger and that freedom will prevail.
This morning's provocation from the North is just the latest reminder of the risks each one of you face every day in defense of the freedom of the people of South Korea and defense of America in this part of the world.
Back home, police are hoping someone comes forward to explain why there's a kayak that's been found unmanned off the beach in Port Melbourne. It was found around 5:20 in the evening, anchored and partly underwater, about 150 metres from Sandwich Beach. That prompted a search involving water, air wing and local police, assisted by the Coast Guard and SES, but so far they have been unable to locate the owner. Police have released an image online encouraging anyone with information to contact them. The search for a teenager missing at an unpatrolled New South Wales North Coast beach for more than 36 hours is due to resume later this morning. 17-year-old Ali Mazari was swimming with 4 other people at isolated Pebbly Beach when the group got in trouble around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Police say 3 of the group managed to swim to shore and help the 4th boy to safety. It's understood the missing teen is not a strong swimmer. Some of his friends have started posting messages of grief on social media, while others say they want him to come back home. And the Fremantle Football Club says it will continue to assist and support injury-plagued player Ali Bernard after he's confirmed he's kicked off the flight from Melbourne to Gold Coast. On Saturday, Virgin staff believe the 24-year-old was affected by alcohol. He agreed to being escorted off the flight. The club says he's been dealing with the frustration and disappointment of being unable to play.
The 3AW scores. Listen on air, online and mobile.
It was a scrappy affair between St Kilda and Collingwood, with the Saints coming through 69-55 at Etihad Stadium. The Magpies flew out to an early lead, but the Saints limited the score to the second quarter. A final goal from Henry Shea not enough to secure the win. St Kilda's Dylan Robertson told 3AW football it wasn't their best performance.
Collingwood's a bit our start this year. We got off to a bit of a shaky start. They kicked inaccurately, so that kept us in it, so we're pretty lucky there. But then after that, I think we really got our pressure. Now, they're a quality midfield. I think our mid might have broken even.
Today's Hawthorn will face Geelong at the MCG. News Time 5 and 4.
It's the autumn sale. E&S. Get $400 cash back with select Siemens laundry pads. Plus, get the free delivery and setup on select fridges, washers and dryers. T's and C's apply. Sale on now. Surround yourself with quality at E&S.
It can be hard to make and easy to spend. So spend some time with Heidi Armstrong every Thursday night when she presents Money to Love. Whether you're in business or interested in personal finance, Heidi has valuable advice. It's about changing your mindset, habits, behaviours, beliefs, so you can make the most out of your money. Money to Love, Thursday nights from 9 on 3AW. Thanks to Liberty. Get financial with home, car and personal loans. Go to liberty.com.au.
G'day, I'm Rob Setcher. I was asked recently how it feels to lead the 4th generation of our family real estate company, Fletchers. For me, it's about maintaining a legacy, keeping ahead of our competitors, keeping up with technology, and keeping up with developments in property. Visit fletchers.net.au.
3AW weather.
Here is the weather for today, and it is weather. Oh, there is no doubt about its weatherness. Starting in Melbourne, it's 12.4 at the moment. Today is going to be partly cloudy with a top of 22. Canberra, mostly sunny, top of 21. Sydney, 15 at the moment. Today, partly cloudy at 23. Brisbane, at the moment 16. It'll be partly cloudy at 27. Darwin, shower or two, possible storm at 32. Perth, mostly sunny, 25. Adelaide, mostly sunny, 27 degrees. And finally, Hobart, partly cloudy, 19 degrees. 6 minutes past 4. We're talking about all sorts of things tonight. Do you remember Jam and Tears, RXL, Mona? If you do, 13:32. Also, if you're just getting up, you might want to prepare yourself, because no one saw this coming. oldest woman at 117 has died. She is no longer with us. She was eating 3 eggs a day, raw, I believe. She didn't have teeth. We hardly expect her at 117, would you? I want to ask you this question. Would you want to live to 117? So why? Why would you want to live that old? Why would you want to live that long? What would the quality of life would be? In any event, it's quite a milestone. It would probably be impossible to do anything on the computer as far as your birthday goes. I'm pretty sure the computer would say no, every time you can't tell it a million more. She is, I believe, the last person alive, or she was, who's born in the 19th century. She's no longer with us. So the title reverts to, I think, one woman somewhere who's 116, a Scotland, 116. So she would probably remember Janet Hamilton. But now this woman, from what I've read about her, she had raw eggs and no milk. She was married to, get this, she left her husband when the fascists were in power. She was an Italian woman, and when Uduce was running the roost in Italy in the 1930s, she walked out on a hubby, she worked in a factory, she made pink bags, and never partnered again, or never re-partnered. So she had some conscious uncoupling from her first husband, who was a cruel man, an unkind man, according to her. And so she's no longer with us. Would you want to live to 116 or 117? Me, myself, probably not. Although you would see a lot of history, but I always remind my uncle, a man who I never met, was married to my dad's sister. He got to about 90. He was in the retirement home, and he was just willing death to take him. And it got to the point where he just wouldn't even bother getting dressed. He would just sit there in his pajamas all day, just waiting for his maker to refer him to the heavenly paradise, which happened. It happened, as it will to all of us. So that's what I've been asking tonight. That and what do we do about the funding of mental health in Australia? Mental health leads the papers, or the news-related papers at any rate. The Australian mentally ill wellbeing NDIS shift. This is the first paragraph of an article by the paper's senior affairs writer, Rick Morton. At least $3 billion in mental health money will be lost as part of the NDIS's rollout, either because the $22 billion behemoth has soaked up available money, or it has been used as an excuse to wind back other support. And the Herald is reporting that some of Victoria's most prolific murders have been committed by patients suffering mental illness who are left on the street instead of receiving desperately needed medical care. It's a crying shame that mental health affects all of us in some way or another. And I am baffled as to why the state and federal governments don't attack the problem with much greater funding. It's not sexy, we know that. But when you look at the scope and range of mental illness and the effect it has on the lives of every Australian and the economy, it's really mystifying that truckloads of money are not thrown at the problem. If you've had some personal experience on it, or can point us or give some explanation as to how mental health is funded in Australia and what the pitfalls are and what we're doing wrong, or indeed what we're doing right. There might be a good news story in all of that. 13 13 32 would be the number to call. Also, I've been asking tonight after a week on the road with the family, there are songs that I never, ever want to hear again. A lot of them are by Taylor Swift, Sia, or Katy Perry. Also the cast of Morena, the new, the guy who's the Rock, who's in an animation film set in the South Pacific. The kids are heavily into that. I've heard far too many songs from that particular movie. And I hear another one again, I will happily self-defenestrate. That is, I will throw myself out of the window at the seventh floor here at Media House because I simply can't take any more songs from that particular movie. Damien has called from Pascal. Hi, Damien. Well, thanks, Damien. I reckon I would, but listen, if I had to hear one more song from that film, I would just have to do it. Yeah. Cottage, yeah. They used to, yeah. Yes. Yes. No, but I don't think I made it to Melbourne. I don't remember that. Damien, did you ever have a mate of mine, his grandmother made a thing called mock raspberry jam? Did you ever have that? It was like oh, really? Yes. Yes. And you just added boiling water to it. Yes. The mock raspberry jam, if you've ever had any kind of mock food, let me know, 1332. It was made with tomatoes and raspberry cordial. Yeah. Ooh, hang on, when were they sold? Are we talking World War II here, David? Yeah. Because there was normally, what was it, a substitute for something that was being rationed. Who were they getting the eggs from? Yes, I have heard stories. Any account you read of Americans in World War II, compared to anyone else, was just how fabulously provisions they were. Yeah. Women talked about the rough fabric that Australian uniforms were made from. And remember, they would be dancing, cheek to cheek. And they said they preferred dancing with Americans because they were more gentlemanly. And as you said, their uniforms were better quality. Yeah, well, you had mentioned about the Battle of Brisbane. Do you know about that, David? There was a riot between Australian and American troops in Brisbane, and a soldier, I think he was an Australian soldier, ended up dying, and it was hushed up at the time. And I think it may have been about a black American soldier, or plans to, and this is just insane. The Americans wanted to let a bunch of black American soldiers have their leave in Brisbane. I think there's something to do with that. I need to check on that, but there was a huge riot between the two troops, I think, at a train station, and it spread out to Brisbane, and yeah, it was a bit of a low point between two hours. But thank you for the call, Damien. 1332. Laura is in North Ryde. Hi, Laura.
Look, I'm enjoying your program all night because it doesn't matter what time of the day I might go to sleep till 75 now.
Well,
Seriously, Tony.
yes.
I wouldn't mind being 170, you know why? Because I like to hang around and see what happens. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yes, I guess I do and I don't. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do know what you mean, but there's nothing wrong with me apart from that I'm highly intelligent. I can read right before I went to school.
Oh, well done. That's unusual.
I've always been interested in what's going on, and I tell my kids, you know, stay and look around as long as you can. Try not to get shot and stabbed. Everybody else is. I mean, now I want to hang around because I want to see what happens to the way it's all going. And I don't see changes, you know. We live without a telephone, we live without a car, so we got the telephone and then a car and then this. And I was the youngest of 10, and my teenage sisters, I tell you what, you think teenagers want this, that, the other. Now, my sisters and my brothers wanted everything back then at the 40s and 50s, and we lived in a very old house which got more modern with everything that was happening. They wanted it. They wanted the latest records. They wanted car dinosaurs instead of lino. They wanted a gas stove instead of the old fuel stove.
God, well, presented us, obviously, kids are like that because they give them an iPad, they want a bigger iPad, they want two of the bigger iPads, and then they want the next thing, and so on and so on and so on and so on it goes. So,
well, I don't think anything's changed. You know, I've had ups and downs, and I've got two sons and a daughter in the middle, and the teachers were ridiculous. They'd spend some age announcing something that was going on, and I was spelling mistakes.
Oh, you can't have that.
We can't have that, but anyway, darling, thank you for your program. I just thought I'd say that I'm quite happy to be old and I'm quite healthy, actually. I think we get back to good food.
Yes.
And, yeah, I was thinking around what time my three kids. Keep yourself healthy because you never know what's going to happen in the future.
You're true. You're a real sight seed. Thank you for that, Laura.
Okay, Tony, thank you for your program.
Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. 1332, Laura is, she's up at her reason as to why she'd want to live to 117. Do you have a reason that's different, or you want to reinforce or echo her sentiments? Blind, simple, unalloyed curiosity, I think, is what one of Laura's decision to want to live to that age. Or do you have another reason? Maybe you just want to keep your enemies. 1332. Now, phone lines are empty, and Bianca is threatening to play a song from Moana, the animated movie. So you don't call. This is where we're at. I cannot hear this song. If I hear this song, tears of frustration and sadness will roll down my cheeks. I leave my song in your hands. 1332.
No John, less than John.
One of my favourite memories was the day we stayed at the room club, and I was told it was the worst idea that anyone had ever had on radio, and wondered whether we were ever going to get any calls, and blow me down, we got calls, and we've continued to get calls until we're there we are.
No John, Neil Mitchell. We get a connection whenever we want to try to achieve something to help people. The people that want to be generous spirited, they're really generous heart out there, and not come forward and stand up. We are no John, 3AW. Big Super have good news for those of you who like to improve the world in retirement. We call it a socially conscious investment option. It avoids your investments in big oil, big tobacco, big gambling, big coal, and other big polluters, and all comparable fees to a typical balanced investment option. So visit bigsuper.com.au for more information about super that can make a big difference to you and to grandkids. Consider the relevant product disclosure statement from our website before deciding whether Big Super is the right choice for you. Currently, investment advice.
Smoking Brothers Funerals, I felt like I've known them for years. They're so caring, honest, and passionate. James sums up his team best when he says,
This past year, they've been a wonderful team, along with the biggest men and women that just want to provide the very best to their client families, driven by this industry. And no one can have a advantage when anyone come here and do great things for people.
visit farronbrothers.com.au. Farron Brothers Funerals, celebrating lives.
Imagine experiencing the luxury of a Mercedes-Benz, exploring the wide open road in style. Or stop imagining and join a conversation with Neil Mitchell. If you're Neil's valuable player for the week, you could experience the luxury of a Mercedes-Benz for the entire weekend. And don't go draw a PVP Grand Prize at the end of the year, a 2017 Mercedes-Benz A180, all courtesy of Freehold Motors, the MVP Award, Neil's most valuable player. 8:30 weekdays on 3AW 693.
Tony Mowbray on a sporty local night.
13:32, that is the fun of it. It's 23 minutes past 4, and Sue is in Vermont South. Hi, Sue.
Good morning, Colin.
What do you do?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm so pleased to be back.
Oh, thank you, Sue. It's great to be back.
Well, it's not the same when you're not here. I know you've had a long holidays, and I'm so pleased for you and your family that you had such a wonderful time with moving kids and playing music with your little life and driving in the car too long and doing a campfire a bit lion. I mean, you really had a good holiday.
Yes, I did. Yes, let's not skip over the amazing rainbow I showed on the beach there.
I was really, really proud of you. Really, really. And listen, I'm listening to the supporters of AU.
Yes.
A few weeks ago.
Yes, and you're a very kind, noble supporter.
Well, that's right, because I just got so sorry for you, and I was so pleased when they won when you were away, and I couldn't bring you because you were away.
Well, I was watching it in Adelaide.
Yes, I knew you would be.
Well, it's very exciting, I've got to say. I thought, they're going to drop this. It'll all come to naught in the last quarter, but they were magnificent. It was a great game to watch.
I know, yeah. See, just be Hilda. I never think we're going to win. I always think we're going to lose. I mean, we took ourselves out of so many goals.
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we didn't go yesterday, but our two sons did, and they said it's the first, after the first quarter. What the hell are they doing? The first quarter. No, the last quarter. Those days.
That's all you need to hear. See, what you have done, Sue, is successfully raised children who go to the same football club as you.
I know.
You'll know the low points of the Triple A was my son beaming in an Adelaide jumper outside football park.
It really doesn't matter, Tony. No, it doesn't. I mean, why don't you love your kids? Does it really matter?
Well, of course I love him, but here's what I think, sir, because a mate of mine barracked for Hawthorn, his old man was a mad Geelong supporter, and then he drifted away from football, became basketball, and now is a fanatical Cats supporter. So I'm hoping that my son follows the same path.
But I think, Tony, being on holidays, we saw the Oval, and we said, oh, well, I have to do that because they're on top of it, or they were on top of it. They don't really do very well. Well, that's exactly right. We're a very good team.
Yes.
And I don't think this team is their first. I really don't.
Couldn't agree more, so
Because I see them gold every year.
they're going to burn out.
They certainly are.
I know that's great. And it's real, and Richmond supporters know that too. They'd be nervous.
And do you know what? Do you know who I really like in the Richmond team? It's Dustin Martin. No, it's not because he's a good player, but he's got such a sad face. He always looks unhappy.
Well, he looked pretty happy kicking all those goals against Carlton in round one. I've got to say, some of them were pretty amazing. So maybe that cheered him up. I don't know.
Well, he always looks as though he's sad.
Well, he probably misses his old home. He's back in New Zealand, isn't he?
one that I really don't like is a boy called Sue.
Oh, yes.
What a stupid fellow.
Well, you might say that, wouldn't you, a girl named Sue? Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. 13 that is the phone number. 13 Louisa is in Melbourne. Hi, Louisa.
Hi, Tony. I'm glad you're back.
I'm glad to be back.
I missed you now. Look, the other presenters were good, but they're bland. You, to me, will speak decisively and you're not flat out politically correct. So, for example, I was listening to you talking to Sue, and you weren't afraid to make a prediction about Richmond.
Yeah, well,
you're not afraid to say these things that you think. Like you weren't afraid to speak about
thank you. Thank you. Good for you. I'm not very judged. I think you've met Wilson and if I had to sit through that film one more time or listen to any of the music, I just wouldn't do it. I am not with it. Sounds like you do, Louisa.
and you know how kids I pick it up now to be politically correct.
Yeah.
And I took my three grandsons to see it, and when they came out, they didn't say a word.
My kids have discovered the word racist, so they'll apply that with a lot of enthusiasm. Well, I was trying to convince my daughter to play the piano. Yeah. She was trying to learn a little piano, which is right. And I said, you've got to practice. Now, Asians are more successful generally because they work really hard. Because they will practice things and they will apply themselves and as a general rule they are more successful and they earn more money. And she looked at me and she said, Dad, that's racist to Australians.
It's a fight like you have everything so quickly that kids don't get the trick these days.
No, they really don't. It's well observed. Now, staying alone there, Louisa, because all your strategy has paid off. You've scored the Mark Vincent CD pack, including a brand new album, a tribute to Mario Lanza. Were you a fan of Mario Lanza? Oh, there you go. Thank you. Well, no, thank you for getting off the likelihood of us playing a track from Mario. Thank you, Louisa. I appreciate the call. 13 that's the phone number here. It is 4:30.
Thank you, and they celebrate the experiences and lessons you've learned along the way. This is Ben Porter, and I'm here to share a story of life well lived from Okia's Experience Exchange.
The most blessings of 32 years, and after retiring at 55 as a senior sergeant, there was a quick surplus in the magistrate's court. Found herself in the reserve. The Army Intelligence was his JP. I joined the writer's group when I was 17. Over 10 years, I've had a lot of published material. My book, Cops, Crooks, Courts and Spooks, is a collection of stories based on my experiences. But it doesn't matter if you're not published, just write and keep writing what you like, whether it be fiction or non-fiction. Vic first speaks today.
Share your experiences of a life well lived by adding your story, tip or advice to Okia's Experience Exchange, so everyone can benefit from your experience.
ExperienceExchange.com.au.
Okia, because we know this year Kia's surprising deals. Like Serranos from 1995 away with pre-order, or the $1,000 factory bonus across the Sportage range. And introducing the all-new Wheelbase with auto from $17,490 right away. All Kias come with Australia's best 7-year factory warranty with 7 years cash price servicing and up to 7 years roadside assist. Just a rising deal. See you at 3 Kia dealers today. Private buyers only. Offers in April 31.com. Terms and conditions at kia.com.au.
I'm Rick from Happy Tim. We believe in arriving on time. We believe every customer, small or big, deserves our very best work. We believe in only hiring first-class window tinters. We believe you deserve the highest quality window tint. We believe in pricing you can afford. We believe in doing the perfect tint, or we'll fix it.
We believe you'll be happy you chose Happy Tint.
Happy Tint your home, your office, your car. Call 1-800-HAPPY-TINT. Visit happytint.com.au.
As a builder or renovator, every job is different. Some need timber windows and doors, others aluminium windows and doors, and you can get them all at one place. Windowsanddoors.build. Canterbury Timber Windows and Doors is the Southern Star Group's heritage brand. Canterbury is unique in offering 3 different timber species: Atlantic, Western Red Cedar, and KD Hardwood. A massive range, beautifully finished for any building or renovating project. See the range at windowsanddoors.build, part of the Southern Star Group.
I mean, honestly,
Just coming up to 27 minutes to 5. It is now a pleasure to say g'day, Cobber, to Sky News as, well, I think, most learned and trusted senior producer, Mr. Terry Galloway. Good morning, Terry. Now, you've been, what have you been doing with yourself the last 3 or so days, Terry? Have you gone incognito or through incommunicado?
Yeah, mate. We took off to the Central Coast in New South Wales. Endured a 3-hour, 113 kilometres, 3-hour trip in absolute wall-to-wall traffic. And the barricade is huge. Barricade is starting at Sydney, which is 7 well. It's absolutely outrageous. 3 hours for 113 kilometres. It's not good, is it? No. And we've enjoyed a 52-cent rise in the price of petrol. Fuel, for the school holidays just the weekend.
Well, no doubt, Terry, the ACCC will be all over that, like a couple of Smarty. They'll be doing what they're entrusted to do, surely.
Absolutely. And absolutely checking to see if there are any correlations between Charles and Irving, so they're all having exactly the same price and round about the same increase. So the reason I have them high, I got a car from Lever around Lever 40 as the Eastern version for $1.32. I don't know if it's worth it.
Well, yeah,
Still pretty good.
that is, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, look, it happens every year, and each year we seem to be told that the ACCC are going to look into it. Why doesn't Professor Gillian Triggs turn her attention to that? Because surely paying too much for petrol is a violation of our human rights, Terry.
No, most definitely. It is, of course, from a very point of view, shouldn't be driving with petrol making machines.
I don't know, well, you need petrol to get your brain's conference in Liverpool, though. That's the only catch.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you're going up against your post, if they have got to get together up there, it takes 3 hours to be in the traffic. They use modern cars that computer dashboards and figure out what the fuel consumption is. You can watch it increase as you put time in traffic. So anyway, these things happen and will continue to happen with the petrol stations. The fuel outlets are making a good quid over the weekend and ultimately New South Wales still nominated.
Well, the best in order to clean your windscreen is free. Let's look at the upside. Now, what are you covering on the Sky News today, Terry?
Well, I would like to say that first of all, very welcome to our world to Sophie Trisha Hart, the firstborn child of Alex and Laura Hart. And Laura is Laura Gray from Australia, who is one of our correspondents and runs the afternoon program for the latest concern just down the screen here. Well, she's not pregnant, and they're having babies, but this is their first, and that is the first of pregnant their daughter of note. And I'm very pleased to say that Laura is one of my, I've trained her in Colorado. She came to the Australian Youth Australia as a very young, inexperienced, straight out of university type journalist. Put our head down and decided that learning from the RFAs of herself has been around of it, rather than coming in and saying, well, I know all this, you don't have to tell me anything. And Laura has been an absolute joy to work with and a Oh, yeah, look, and I guess we do, but we have nuclear saver happening at the moment between Donald Trump in the United States and Kim Jong-il in North Korea. It's getting to the stage where it's really getting a bit of a worry. The actual said US car victim up there, and that's up there, as well as the four vessels. And so the inland empire has the aircraft and islands, but they have their nuclear splitting aircraft control.
Yes, they would have. They're on the US Navy or US Air Force, and yeah, they can detect. Well, they can film these launches, so they can film the missile as it goes ballistic, and they've got all sorts of capabilities that are incredible. You'll be gobsmacked by what the US military can do. There's very little that it can't do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all across it.
I very know that it's going to work and actually stuff in the air to pick-ons and analyze the stuff in the air, and believe just put the Australian here with the Fukushima nuclear reactor breakdown. But anyway, it's all up there, and believe it or not, according to one newspaper, a senior military advisor to President Donald Trump has told this unknown senior military advisor, told this newspaper that the president is preparing to strike against North Korea. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're doing. The military fights on the newspapers, but enemies.
Yeah.
It's so there's a lot of, I suppose, it's like when it's up there, it's in the work with the holiday weekend, so they're not necessarily true. Anyway,
well, I would like to know, and I asked the question of Tyler, who was on the show earlier, who was given the job of breaking the news to Kim Jong-un that the missile was a spectacular failure and blew up after 5 seconds?
I don't think it'd be landing up to the aircraft.
Yes. That's something you've got to text to the boss before taking a very long weekend.
Yeah, and we should really laugh at Kim Jong-un, and with their reaction that people aren't going to get his haircut. That's just some general shock.
Well, falling asleep at a meeting got a general shock.
I don't know from the vision that Ferrari just being the military model, but we're obviously all those that we made those grades in much better. Yeah. And it was very funny else, the fact that this row and row of very senior North Korean army officers. And I thought, the sort of thing Kim Jong saying, oh, that like him, and that like him, and that like him. Why don't you shout him up and do it? Yes, in the meeting with Brad. That never happened. And, yeah, but it is, as I said, nuclear power is having favor in the whole world just really gets posted on the edge about it all. And, yes, I think that my first reaction after the mother of all had gone in Afghanistan. That was the biggest non-nuclear device ever exploded in combat situation. The massive ordnance aircraft, the MOA, mother of all bombs.
Well, I think they call it, I think, 21,000 pounds, okay? Because we are ignoring the fact that they were dropped by Australians as well in World War II, the Grand Slam bomb, which weighed in at 24,000, and that was an earthquake bomb. It was dropped on the Gulf of Rhydock and a couple of other targets as well. I think they got Torborg, which was a 12,000-pound bomb on the Turkets, the German battleship in Norway. So it's not the largest conventional explosive ever used in warfare.
So it's quite, and I really haven't gone into it. I was serpentine predictions that came out on the right that the bomb struck into the ground and then exploded. Were in a very name as an air somewhere from the ground. Yeah, I have to think of most of that. But it's quite a while to let go. Yeah, almost World War II.
And the grandstand that I'm talking about was designed by the same man who designed the Dan Huston mine. That model will guy just, I think the Americans first used something like this in Vietnam. There's a thing called a daisy cutter, and it's a fuel air explosive. So it lets out this vapor, and then it gets lighted and basically sucks in the oxygen. That's how it does damage. And it's a pretty nasty piece of work, but it's very effective at against vapor complexes and things like that. So I would certainly not want to be on the receiving end of it, like tool that ISIS were.
I see also that they mentioned police background in the explosive itself, which I haven't done from the surf on it, so I want to have a look at it when I get into the office on that one.
Well, all of that will be covered today, all that and more. We can look forward to comprehensive coverage of that. And just well done. Well, don't be sorry. There are green shirts aplenty. There is some young kids. There's a kid called Fisher who debuted a kick a magnificent goal from the forward pocket. There are so many exciting signs at Carlton. I'm thrilled. They're great fun to watch again. And
at the beginning of the year to watch out for those teams and looking there.
yeah, well, it's I'm a very happy Carlton supporter. Nothing to complain about here. Thank you for that, Terry.
Thank you, Tony. Talk to you tomorrow.
Look forward to that. Terry Galloway there, Senior Producer. It's Sky News. The time is 16 minutes to 5.
Join me 36 weekdays, so bring you news. Savings live breaking news with Dean the Street views. Opinions from left, right, and a few in between. Interviews. Power brokers from all parts of the political spectrum. Local. Council Watch and your town. Global. Finance guru Scott Over to trust to make sense of the markets. Family. And of course, my dad, John Millett, tells them how it is every Friday afternoon. Time Nights. Back on Drive this Wednesday. 3AW 693.
Somebody spends so much time together, just never got around to it. Jim thinks I should say, but what a perfect day. Nothing like a paddle in motion. When you've been given a second chance, why not make time to do what you love? If your doctor has recommended a low-dose aspirin, take genetic-coated Cartier and follow your heart. Go to cartier.com.au to find out more. And can I have your paddle, please? Always read the label. These animals directed for use under medical supervision only.
Hello. National Tyres has the largest trade base of professional tyres in Australia. Why? Because thousands of professional tyres across Australia know that National Tyres has without doubt the best value for money tyres, adhesives, grouts and accessories in the nation. Whether you're a builder, tiler, architect, interior designer or do-it-yourselfer, come into National Tyres now and see why National Tyres has the largest trade base of professional tyres in Australia.
Hi, it's Kaylee here. Exclusively discounted electricity and gas offers are right now coming to a close in Victoria. Don't hesitate any longer. These offers are only available to 50 Up Club members and might not come again. Go to 50upclub.com.au to check out our latest group discounted electricity and gas offers unlocked especially for Victorian over 50s. Switching your electricity and gas is quick and easy. Remember, if you've never switched before, it's likely you're paying too much. The offer from Click Energy has no exit fees, no lock-in periods, and no expiry dates on discounts. Go to 50upclub.com.au and join now. And hurry, these offers are for a limited time. Joining the 50 Up Club is cost and obligation free. Go to 50upclub.com.au.
Massive Easter sale gives you the power of that. Get one giveaway of Victoria tyres. So you buy 3 and get 1 free. And a great range of Toyota passenger car and SUV tyres. Conditions apply. Use the time power.au. 1321 Harding Street. Local owner operator. The new Mopeds on a superhero device.
13:32. It's 13 minutes to 5. I have been asking what song would you happily never hear again? This is after a road trip. Kids with too much power over their mother's iPhone, which contained all the my music on my iPhone has been Too Daddy to listen to. meaning I don't have enough kid-friendly music on it. So my wife probably has a thrilling selection of about 30 songs on it, all of which we've heard far too many times on a road trip. So there are songs that need to be confined or consigned to the dustbin of memory. And I'm asking, what song would be in that category for you? Joy is in East Doncaster. Hi, Joy.
Yes, hello, Tony. Nice to talk to you. Just so you just mentioning that you might be too young to hear this song, but because my baby has gone down the pothole.
Oh, tell us about that. What year are we talking about here, Joy?
Pardon?
What year are we talking?
Yes, well, it's a song. It's a song called My Baby Has Gone Down the Pothole.
So is that when you literally throw the baby out with the bathwater?
I think that's something like that. Because that's the getting back to you cry. Getting back to what concerns me.
Yeah.
Because I'm to considering my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, new presents, and they have it in the future.
Yeah.
And that happens to them. I'd like to be, I'm 80 now.
Yeah.
I'd like to be put on 90. Because I feel it's what I'd like to do to help people, the homeless and people with cold on the bridge.
Yeah.
Take it in different pieces, to keep them warm. There's a lot of things I'd like to do for my family. Do before I go. Take them back to the northern territory.
Oh, yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah.
And do something like that. And also be around as long as I can to help them in whatever predicament they the trippings that are being threatened to be there for them.
Well, that's very noble, Joy, and I certainly hope that your wish comes true. And certainly hope, as we all do, that cooler heads prevail in life when dealing with somebody like Kim Jong-un, who's, well, it's the least flattering thing you can say, but he's completely unhinged. And
He's too young to be there, Tony.
yes, he couldn't agree more.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and how on earth he got picked. A hereditary communist dictatorship. It's just, it's not good whichever way you cut it, but as I said, I just hope that cooler heads, that Chinese can effect some effective diplomacy, and that America just doesn't do anything rash.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you for that, Joy. I appreciate it, and I wish you good health. Hi, Michael Coburn.
Tony, I've got a double-header for you in regards to the song I do not want to hear again.
Yeah.
How about this? Willie Nelson, On the Road Again. Never want to hear it again. Never want to hear it on the road again.
Why? That wouldn't, to me, be top of the list. What has that song done to you, Michael?
I think it's any time it is brought up in conversation on a TV show, not on the radio show, Willie Nelson, On the Road Again gets to play. Anything car related, anything travel related is road again.
You know what my equivalent of that is?
Yeah.
The Holy Grail by Hunters and Collectors. Let's see.
Tony, that's where you're wrong.
No.
That is stable. Australia. It's all the Holy Grail is even an anthem.
No, I can't. Okay, we've got people going for a cup in a sporting event. I know. Wouldn't play Holy Grail. Get it? They're going for the cup. The cup is like a grail. Oh my God, it's lost all power over me, that song. It's just, no.
I see Holy Grail and I think you Ricky Martin.
Okay, all right. What about Final Countdown there?
Oh, Final Countdown.
To anybody who's young who didn't live through 1999, do you remember the thrashing that song got in the lead up to the millennium?
I'm thinking, oh, it's different now. I am just thinking, what if I am the tiger?
Yes, okay, well course, that's a truly great song that doesn't get old. But you know, it's not the lyrical masterpiece that the final countdown is. We're heading for Venus and still we stand tall. Maybe they've seen us and welcome us all. With so many light years to go and things to be found, I know that they'll all miss us so. I'm a big fan of the songwriter Joey Tempest. What can I say? Took his name from the Shakespeare, believe it or not. I know too much about that band, Michael. What else did you write? I don't know. I only know that song. So it's pretty limited. But thank you for that call, Michael. Thank you. On the radio, how could you hate Willie Nelson? He's so chilled out with all that marijuana and tax evasion. He doesn't pay tax, maybe that is why he's so relaxed. And he's helped the farmers. I would go to him. 13 do you have a song that you would just prefer never to hear again? The time here is 7 minutes to 4.
It's Greg Steen from Jacaranda Financial Planning, here to sort out your super and retirement. Heard on the radio for years, we provide trusted, clear superannuation and retirement advice. Book now for Greg's free super and retirement planning seminar. 6 p.m. Thursday, April 27 at the Mercure Hotel. Learn tips and traps, transitions, and how to make your super work. Book the Jacaranda on 1-800-40-2610. That's Jacaranda Financial Planning, 1-800-40-2610. Hello, I'm Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg for the Family Peace Foundation. Children can thrive in just 8 minutes a day of really loving, warm, undivided attention from their parents. Yes, that's all it takes from you. Just 8 minutes of really loving, warm, undivided attention for your children every day. To find out more, go to the Family Peace website or Facebook page now and view our short video on 8 minutes a day. Family Peace, it's in their smiles.
Hi, this is John Cloud from the Fine Tune. For the last 10 years, we've proudly supported the Les Twentyman Foundation.
Great things happen when caring people get together. Local colleagues who can help us make a difference.
The leadership and outreach programs run by the Les Twentyman Foundation help keep kids active in